How many times do you scan QR codes today? Sometimes we might rock up to a cafe and the code is on the table and we just scan it. We order, we pay. It's all great. The convenience is fantastic. It does become a habit. It has become a habit. And it's that habit that attackers are counting on. QR code phishing, or quishing as it's called, is now sophisticated enough that to bypass multi-factor authentication and compromise us before we even know it. The standard advice about staying safe, a lot of it doesn't hold up as well as it used to. Today, I'm talking about what quishing actually does, and some of the things and some of the changes in our mindset that we might need to make. Stay tuned. It's a good one. Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 727. I do have some notes here, so I'm going to be reading from them, so please bear with me. I want to make sure I get all the points right here. It is Firewall Friday, and today I'm going to be talking about QR code phishing, or quishing as it's called. Now, I have covered this a couple of times, or at least once, and I know in episode 609, I covered why QR codes are a legitimate business tool, but we do need to talk about the downside of them, and particularly in light of Google's June advisory. So let me just start with, we're going to cover with what QR codes are, how they rose to popularity. Going to talk about what quishing is, and then we're going to talk about how that works and the things that we might need to do to change our approach or to protect ourselves from it. So it is Firewall Friday. So this is the practicality of this episode is about, this is the security concern. Here's the things that you should be doing about protecting yourself from. So let's start with what QR codes are, and then move on into the rest of the episode. So QR codes are those little funny square things that they've got all the squiggles on them. You raise your camera, take a photo, it gives you a URL, or it does something on your phone that you can interact with. Typically, businesses use them to send you to a website. It's it's a quick way of getting you to their website to look at things. When the pandemic started in 2020, yep, that's right, 2020, it just accelerated the adoption of QR codes because it was a convenient way of getting people to your website. Restaurants, parking payments, parking, product packaging, they're all embedded in how our businesses operate today. You want to order, you go to a coffee shop, for example, and you want to order, and on the table there's normally a QR code, or on the napkin holder, or on a stick there's a QR code. You can scan it, bring up their menu, order from the table, it's brought out to you. You don't have to go to the counter, you don't have to be carrying cash, you don't have to do the swipey thing at the counter. You can do it all from your table. Very convenient, very easy if you like looking at menus on your phone. I've got to say, I hate it. Like to go to the counter, see what's there. I'm old school. Now, the fact is it's that familiarity, that popularity, the fact that it is so embedded in the way that we are doing business today, that is what attackers are now exploiting. So I think it was 609, I covered it. I said that, one of the things that we're finding is that people are, if you've got a poster up out in public, in the wild, if you like, people are actually walking up and sticking another sticker over the QR code, and that's redirecting you to a malicious site. Quishing takes it a little bit further. I love that term, quishing. I think I love that term. Ask me in another week and see if I like it. But quishing is taking it a little further, and it's actually quite nefarious, and it's something that we all need to keep front of mind. So it's been flagged by Google and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Intelligence, in 2026. As I said, Google's June advisory named it alongside adversary-in-the-middle attacks. I'll come back to that. I promise that is probably the key to this entire episode, that adversary-in-the-middle attack. The FBI's January flash alert called it MFA resistant, multi-factor authentication resistant. Your two-factor authentication or your multi-factor authentication might not protect you from this. Now, these weren't fringe warnings. Google and FBI are not fringe warnings. These are mainstream threat intelligence. And that's one reason why I'm doing today's episode. So how does a Quishing attack actually work? All right. I'm just trying to think how I can put this in simpler terms. Then, of course, I've got my notes here. The attacker will set up a server. It's what we call a proxy server, and that sits between you and the real site. Now, that proxy server, when someone hits it, says, "I want to see NAB's login page," it will send out a request to the NAB. It will pull the data back. It will process it, and then it will present the NAB login page to you. Now, it's not actually the NAB's login page. It looks exactly right because it is the real site. It's being brought back. It's being presented to you, but it's being presented by that proxy server. When you log in on that NAB's page, and I'm using NAB, National Australia Bank, just as an example. It's not that this has happened. It's just the one that came to mind. When you log in, you enter your username, you enter your password. The proxy server then says, "Okay, I've got those." It may write them off to a file, of course, because it's not the National Australia Bank. And it sends the request back to the National Australia Bank, which will then respond with "Oh, you've got multi-factor authentication set. Give us your code." Now, it might be, the multi-factor authentication that you use on your phone, and you pull that up and you put in your secret code. It might be that it says, "We've sent you a code in your email or your SMS, enter it here." The proxy server actually shows you that. When that's entered, it sends it back to the NAB. So as far as you know, you've logged into the NAB because you literally have. It's just that data there's something in the middle intercepting it and keeping the information. When that authentication is done and is correct, the end site, the NAB in this case, will write something, a little text file, to your computer saying you have been authenticated. The proxy copies that file before passing it to you, and now the attacker has a valid authenticated session on your account. You land logged in with no idea that any of this has gone on in the background. Now, that sounds horrifying. It is horrifying. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to fearmonger, but that is the way that actually works. Now, how do they get this information? How do they get you to that proxy server? They'll send you a QR code. They may send you a QR code in SMS. They may send you a QR code in your email and say, "Just scan this and go and log in." Maybe they have set it up that, there's a QR code on the table and you scan it and it logs you in. I'll come back to that one. The banks are probably the better one. Your banks, your ATO, things that actually have meaning to you or are more valuable to you in the terms of your business. So the QR code comes in on your email. You go, "Oh, a QR code. I have to log in. I'll just scan that and log in." So now you're logging out on your phone, not on your computer. You might be bypassing any of the stuff that you've got on your computer to protect you from that. Whether it is protectable or not is actually in question at this point in time. Maybe your phone has got a browser on it that will detect a phishing attempt, and maybe it will detect this as a phishing attempt. But if this is a new proxy server, if this is a new phishing server, it may not actually detect it. It might just detect it that it's like you're using a VPN. I don't know. I don't know for certain, and I've got to be really, really careful. So the FBI's point about this is really deliberate. Your phone sits outside the endpoint detection and network inspection tools that might catch it on your computer. Maybe you've got things on your phone that will do it, maybe you don't, but your phones tend to be not as secure as the network that your PC is on. And by sending your QR code in your email that you scan, all of your filters are bypassed at this point. The other thing that we're seeing is QR codes are now also showing up in Google Calendar invites. Scammers are embedding fake renewal notices directly into calendar invites. Calendar invites travel through an entirely different channel to email. Your email filters may never see them. And I'm not certain on that because mine come into my email because I don't use the Google infrastructure. So a Google Calendar invite does come to me as an invite. But if you're on the Google infrastructure, ecosystem, and someone sent you a calendar invite, it probably never actually enters your email. It does look like a legitimate subscription renewal. You scan to manage your account and your proxy is already, you're in the proxy. It's already there. You're already interacting with it. So it's not the scanning itself that's in the risk. That is the risk. It's what happens after it. The malicious QR codes doesn't have to take you to a login page to cause the damage. It can take you to a site that downloads a payload the moment it loads. And that's something that I when I was reading all of this and most of the information I saw was, oh, well, they get your information and they write this cookie. Well, my other point is that they could just take you to a site that loads a malicious payload, loads a keylogger, loads a backdoor that someone can then exploit later. We've got to be really careful. You can't tell by looking at a QR code where it goes because it's just a block with squiggly lines on it. And in many ways, we are trained that we see a QR code, we hold our cameras up, we scan it, and we click on the link, or we let it take us to the link that it takes us to, and we do whatever we need to do. I really want to sort of touch on a little bit, when you go to a restaurant, when you go to a cafe, when you go to these places and they say scan our QR code, it is less likely that those will be compromised, that they will be used for nefarious purposes, but the risk is not zero. And whatever I'm talking about here in terms of if you get it in on your email, you need to take the same sorts of precautions there as you do if you're just scanning for a cafe menu, a parking meter, so anything that says use our QR code to log in, just be careful. The first things, here's some things. I like these to be practical. So here's some things that you can be doing. Don't scan QR codes that are in emails or calendar invites. If a business needs you somewhere, they will send you a link you can read before you click on it. Okay? If you're getting something from the NAB, in my example, that says your account is about to be closed or you've overdrawn on your account or whatever it is, scan the QR code, go to the NAB. Well, first things first, do you have an NAB account? Because if you don't, then you know that that's rubbish to begin with. But if you do have an NAB account, go to the NAB website, log in there, go through their website. Don't rely on the QR codes in your emails. It's the same as clicking on an unknown link in your emails. The unknown links are a little bit easier to view and say, maybe that looks malicious. We can't even do that with a QR code. And by the time you scan it on your phone, it's really hard to see what that URL is in the menu because it's on your phone. Your screen is like this big. Maybe it's a bit smaller, but your screen is tiny. It's really hard to see a full URL on your phone, in the address bar on your phone. Now, for physical QR codes that you have no choice but to scan, like your cafe menu, your parking meter, I would recommend that you use a secure browser. Use Brave browser if you must, if you like, but if you must, I use Brave browser. I love it. And that has automatic phishing protection in it. It's got ad suppression. It's got other things in it that it's a privacy first browser. It looks after you a lot better than a lot of other browsers do. If you don't want to use Brave, and you don't have to, and you want to use Chrome or Safari or one of those others, go and turn on phishing protection. It isn't turned on by default. You do need to go and look it up and you need to turn it on. I would recommend you always run with phishing protection on and deal with those really annoying pop-ups that says this might be a phishing sign. because honestly, it's too easy for us to be caught because we're always doing a million and one things when we're working. Now, browser protection will catch known malicious sites before they load, but it doesn't catch the brand new ones that got spun up yesterday or the day before. It is a genuine last line of defense for drive-by downloads, though. Now, if scanning anything takes you to a login page, stop, verify you're in the right place through a completely separate channel before you type anything. So if you're being prompted for a login, if you're being prompted to add your payment details, make sure you're on the right page. And if that means you've got to go and run up another browser, creating another profile in your browser and log in manually, like manually type in the address that you think you should be at, do so. If you can't verify that you're in the right place, I would recommend that you just stop, find a phone number and call it. Don't find the phone number that's in the email, that's likely to be compromised, but go to the business's website itself. Make sure you are verifying where it is you are logging in or providing your information to. The point is, there is no one single thing, not one single thing. There's no single thing that keeps us safe here. It's a combination of habits and tools, and none of them are foolproof. So the honest answer is that understanding what you're dealing with is more useful than a checklist that won't hold it. Okay, now, I often say with all of this stuff that we have to get this right all the time. We have to look after our security and do the right things all the time. A hacker has to get it right once to compromise us. The odds are in their favor. We can limit the odds. We can change those odds. We can make it harder for them to compromise us. We can make it harder for them to get information from us by being aware that these things are out there and by having the things that we do, forming the habits to keep ourselves safe, not just say, I trust everything and I'm going to click on everything and enter my details in everything. Become a conspiracy theorist if you must. I did. No, I'm joking. But I do take things very, very seriously. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. These episodes are never fun to do, I might add. I find them quite depressing because it's like, it's just something else they're trying to get us with. Maybe I'd like to just go and sit on the beach and play in the waves and forget all about this tech stuff because, my goodness, what horrible things we have to deal with sometimes. That said, I would love to know your thoughts. Have you seen this? Have you been caught with it? What is happening for you? Let me know by leaving comments wherever you are watching or listening to this episode. If you liked the episode, if it was helpful, please do give it a like. If this episode was helpful, please do give it a like. Maybe share it with a friend or a business colleague. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so and ring that notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. And if you need help with any of this, I am a tech wrangler. This is the sort of thing I do. I can help you get your mindset right about how you deal with this sort of stuff. Sorry, the processes you go through, the ways you can try and reset your mind, your thought processes around this. I can do the practical stuff about fixing things. I can put processes in place. I can connect things up. I do a whole heap of things. If you need help, please come across to askcharlyleetham.com. You can book a free 30-minute breakthrough session. It's one per person, per company. If you've already booked your free session and had it, reach out and you still want to work with me, that's great. I would love to work with you. Reach out to me and we will work out how that will look and the best way for us to work together. That's it for this week, guys. I will see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. In the meantime, be safe and watch what QR codes you scan. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.